Hello, Vlogalogue!
How you doing? Because I'm doing pretty well. The entire experience here in the great city of London is going really smoothly, and everything is going like pretty much picture perfect in terms of like going through the school and getting all the it's great. Things are going well. Super busy though, which is why you might have noticed a lack of content on any other channel of mine. But Vlogalogue, I care about you, although it is why this video is a few hours late. Apologize about that. Nothing that could be done. I wound up getting a last minute invite to a party thing, and that was a lot of fun, because I don't really go to parties, and I had to take the opportunity to do so. Anyway, Kevin and I were talking on Twitter this week about space. Well, we had a couple back and forth messages, and it got me wondering, like, we all know about space and that the people who go to space are like brave individuals. And would you go to space is like a question that has a varied amount of answers. So let's set a couple conditions for this first scenario. The condition one, you've won the lottery or you won some sort of contest that says you get to go to space and there are no physical or any other sort of random restrictions. They're just going to put you in a thing and it's going to be, somewhat safe. It's going to be certified. It's going to be like NASA certified. Plenty of other people have used it and it has a perfect track record at this point. Say 25 launches. It's like a commercial vehicle and it's had like 25 successful launches. No major problems. No physical restrictions on like size or weight or anything like that. Height is actually a key thing to think about when NASA is selecting astronauts. So let's just say ignore all those, and you can go and tour on the International Space Station, which is actually a thing. Like you can pay NASA like millions of dollars, and they'll let you just be a space tourist. It is a thing. So let's just assume some random billionaire put on a contest for that. But you have to be there for a month because NASA's just combining it with one of their other missions, and that mission's going to be a month. So you're going to have to be on the International Space Station for a month. You wouldn't have any obligations. You could just hang out, float around. You would have to exercise, though, because if you don't exercise for a month in space, all your bones will, lose significant amount of structure, and all your muscles will, dissipate, and you won't have any muscles. And then when you get back to the ground, all your bones will break, and you won't be able to stand up, and it would be pretty awful. And so, would you go... Under those conditions, would you go to the International Space Station? Because I think I would. I think I would have to. I don't think I could say no to that opportunity because it's just cool and yeah, you're kind of insane for strapping yourself to a ton of explosives, but you get to do something that so few people get to do. And I mean, that in itself should not be, a reason. I don't think that's a valid argument that I'm doing something that so few people get to do. Well, yeah, I could go out in the street and jump up and down on my head and get hit by a car, and so few people do that. That doesn't mean it's a good idea. But, so I think that as an argument is actually a really flawed argument, doing something that so few people get to do. But in this case, I'm not gonna argue that in this case this argument makes sense. But in this case, you see the world, and I guess that is also. I don't think we can. I don't think the correct answer to this as to why I want to do it relies upon other people. It should be sort of in a vacuum, so to speak. That why I want to do it, I guess, may not be like a relatable reason. It's just I want to go and do it. I want to experience this thing because I know that we are so small, and I'd like to contextualize that because I've never really seen the curvature of the Earth. I've never gotten that high, let alone high enough to look down on the entire continent that I live on, because we live on a corner of a tiny continent, of a tiny world in a tiny solar system that is a corner of a tiny galaxy in a universe that is just huge. And even just stepping back one level to get like a bird's eye view of that continent speaks to me. And it's maybe it's a little bit of like the human drive to go and explore and find new things, which is why we are spread out across this tiny globe. But it's sort of like I have to say yes. And there's this great quote that I try to live my life by. We regret the things we didn't do far more than we regret the things that we did do. And that would 100% be something that I would go the rest of my life saying, I should have done that. I should have done that. I should have done that. And on my grave would probably be one of my biggest, if my only regret in life was that when I was 21, I had the option to go to space and didn't take it. And now here I am, never having left the surface of the Earth, because no human alive, I don't even think even any dead humans, have ever truly left the bonds of the Earth, even to a reasonable amount. I mean, gravity is actually an infinite force, if you didn't know. So, like, we feel the gravity of the farthest star that we can ever see. Like, that is, like, if that star were to explode, we wouldn't be able to tell. We don't have, like, the detectors that are anywhere near sensitive enough. But theoretically speaking, we would not be experiencing force that we once were. And so you can't ever really leave the influence of the Earth. It is always a microscopic force. It reduces by a squared curve. So a reverse squared curve, a square root. So it gets very microscopic very fast. But I mean, that aside, we no human has ever left the Earth-Moon system. We've never left the Earth's sphere of influence, so to speak. We are always bound to its gravitational curve, and nothing is ever really. The moon has some of a gravitational well that would overpower the Earth's at that point, but it is actually contained inside the Earth's gravitational well. So for all intents and purposes, no human has ever left the Earth's gravitational well in a measurable amount. I mean, yes, once you go to Mars, you're still technically in the Earth's gravitational well, just as we are still technically in Mars's gravitational well. And further still, no human has ever left the sun's gravitational well, because that is ginormous, and at this point it would take a lot of time. But even just being able to step back one level and go to the International Space Station is just something that I would have to do for my own sanity, because it would just be something that would be so profound. To say no would drive me crazy for the rest of my life. I guess is my answer to that question. I mean, you could expand this question further and be like, would you go and be Mars? Would you go to Mars if NASA said, we want you to go to Mars to be the first person to walk on Mars, or even not the first person? Would you say yes? Because keep in mind, this is a 3-year mission, and no one has ever done it before. So you don't even have like the track record of success that my hypothetical first scenario had. And I don't know if I could do it. If I was the first, I don't know if I could not do it again. If I was not the first, I still don't know if I could do it, because at that point you're like, I'm going to do it because I want to be in the history books. I'd almost rather wait till they had like that proven record of success and be like, yeah, I want to go now. But there's no guarantee I'd get to go then. But I don't know. Like, the costs at that point don't necessarily outweigh the benefits, and I don't think it would be just a matter of nerves that would. I don't know if I'd feel as much regret. Now, obviously, this is speaking from a purely hypothetical situation, but I don't know if I'd feel as much regret in not going to Mars as the first person to go to Mars, which would take 3 years and be extremely dangerous, versus the relatively safe going and spending a month on the International Space Station. Like, those are two, like, the line for me is somewhere in there where it becomes like, I have to do this, and is this really a good idea? I mean, so somewhere in there is the line. Unfortunately, that line literally exists in the middle of nowhere space, and would not be a fun place to visit. Anyway, that's my musings for the week. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited to hear what other people have to say, and I have guesses about what other people have to say, but I tried to make the conditions such that maybe I'll be surprised. Anyway, everyone have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!